There's a moment in healing when everything feels too quiet. No crisis, no emergency, no adrenaline rush, just stillness. And that stillness, it can feel like death. Not because you're dying, but because part of you is. The part that was addicted to noise, to conflict, to emotional roller coasters, because at least it felt alive. Carl Jung spoke often about the pull of the unconscious, about how the parts of ourselves we ignore don't just disappear. They act out, they take over. And if we're used to chaos, if we've built our identity around survival, then peace won't feel safe. It'll feel foreign, wrong, even boring. For the psyche, what is familiar is what is safe, even if it's harmful. And so if you grew up in instability or unpredictability, your nervous system may have learned that chaos is normal. And anything else, anything calm, feels like a threat. This is not a character flaw. This is not weakness. This is conditioning. Your mind and body learn to equate peace with vulnerability, with waiting for the other shoe to drop. So when peace finally comes, part of you doesn't know what to do with it. And instead of resting, you sabotage it. You pick fights. You seek drama. You scroll for hours until something upsets you. You replay old arguments in your head just to feel something. Jung would say, this is the shadow, the unconscious part of us that holds the pain we've avoided, the truths we've buried, the patterns we've repeated. And the shadow doesn't just stay in the dark. It shows up in our relationships, in our habits, in our resistance to calm. Because peace asks us to feel what chaos distracted us from. To sit in silence is to finally hear the noise inside. To stop running is to finally feel the ache in your legs. To heal is not just to feel better, it's to feel more. To feel what you couldn't when you were surviving. So if peace feels boring to you, ask yourself, what does chaos protect me from feeling? What part of me is scared to slow down? What would I have to face if I wasn't constantly distracted? The truth is, boredom is often just the first layer. Underneath boredom is discomfort. Underneath discomfort is pain. And underneath pain is clarity. But most people never get there, because sitting with ourselves is one of the hardest things to do. Jung believed that the greatest work we could do was to make the unconscious conscious, to turn inward and face what we've hidden. He wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And you see that everywhere, in the constant scrolling, in the drama addiction, in the endless search for external validation. All of it is an escape. But eventually, the cost of escape becomes too high. The relationships get too strained. The body gets too tired. The soul gets too quiet. And then you realize chaos isn't life. It's the avoidance of life. And peace? Peace isn't boring. It's just unfamiliar. It's a new language, one your nervous system hasn't learned to speak yet. So if you're healing and peace feels uncomfortable, don't rush to fix it. Sit with it. Let your body learn that safety doesn't have to mean stillness. Let your soul know it doesn't have to be on high alert to be worthy. Reassure the parts of you that are bracing for impact that it's okay to breathe. The boredom you feel, that's the gateway. That's the beginning. That's your system recalibrating. Learning to trust what it never had. Learning to receive what it never knew it could ask for. And in time, the peace that once felt boring will start to feel like home. Because peace is not the absence of feeling. It's the space where real feeling begins. It's the place where your soul starts to speak. Not in screams, but in whispers. It says, "I'm still here." And when you start listening to that voice, the one beneath the noise, you realize you were never meant to live in survival mode. You were meant to live in alignment. Not in the chase, but in the stillness. Not in the proving, but in the presence. Jung called this individuation, the journey back to the self. Not the self you had to become to survive, but the one you were before the world told you who to be. that self doesn't thrive in chaos. It doesn't perform for love. It doesn't feed on crisis. It rests in truth. It radiates from wholeness. And it finds beauty in simplicity. So if peace feels boring, ask your shadow why. Let it speak. Let it show you the wounds that chaos kept hidden. And then thank it. Not because it was easy, but because it brought you here, to this quiet moment, to this space of possibility, to this chance to meet yourself. Not the you who reacts, but the you who reflects. Not the you who performs, but the you who simply is. In that being, there's no boredom, just depth, just truth, just peace. But even that isn't the end, because peace reveals something else too. Your capacity, your potential, the parts of you that were dormant under survival, the dreams that got shelved, the love that was too unsafe to feel. Peace allows those things to stretch, to wake up, to breathe. And that's terrifying, because to feel capable is to feel responsible. To feel loving is to feel vulnerable. To feel alive is to feel everything. And when you've been numb for so long, that aliveness can sting. So again, you'll be tempted to run, to scroll, to pick the fight, to abandon the moment. But if you stay, if you keep breathing through the silence, something magical happens. Your nervous system catches up, your inner child exhales, your shadow feels seen, and the peace that once felt boring becomes your new rhythm. Not because it's exciting, but because it's true. It's yours, not borrowed from chaos, not fueled by fear, but built from the ground of your own becoming. That's not boring. That's revolution.